All right, let's do this. Always a treat when we are popping onto Facebook to try to go live. Hello, everybody. What the hell is up? Happy Friday, Junior, coming at you. And so I'm in a different setting today. I am at my parents' house. I am sitting in the backyard. I have not done my hair. I literally just ran a comb through it after getting out of the shower. Want to throw on some makeup so I don't look like a total troll for you guys. But yeah, anyways, if you were watching this live, hit that like button. If you were watching the replay, hit that like button. Love it. Comment, drop whatever questions you got for me. I want to be able to help you guys today with whatever questions you've got. So let me know what's going on and how I can help you out. I cannot talk. So anyways, like I said, I'm here in Montana. Came up here so I can get my hair did and came up here to celebrate my mom's birthday with her. So it's funny, last night we were in the living room, like planning out our day and everything in terms of like our meals and stuff. So we're going out for my mom's birthday dinner tonight. And so she and I and my dad, we're all tracking our macros and everything right now. So we all decided to like pre-log our dinner for tonight just to see what we were doing there. But anyway, she was telling me about how she'll go back and watch these lives and stuff. And she's like, I always want to know like when they're from or whatever. So she's like, maybe you could say the date on them. So you guys, today is May 4th, 2023. May the 4th be with you. So anyways, that is what we're working with today. It is May 4th. I'm going to maybe I'll try to like preface these lives with a date drop in case that is of interest to you. So anyways, it's a beautiful day here. I am wearing shorts. I am wearing a tank top. Like life is good. No complaints. I also, of course, am out of my normal routine. So that can make things a little bit more challenging. It's been a bit of a day trying to like get used to my setup and stuff. I had already 2 Zoom meetings this morning and like trying to figure out how I wanted to be set up for that. It was a little bit challenging for me, if you will, because I was like trying to do it on my iPad and my iPad is a piece of shit apparently. So that I'm trying to like do it on my computer and propping it up in all the places while I'm trying to also work out. And yeah, it's been a bit of a conundrum, but we are doing our best. And I wanted to just like at least be able to pop on here with whatever value I can drop for you guys today. So you know what we're doing today. We're talking all about how you guys can be successful, how you can lose weight without even cutting calories. Like, doesn't that sound awesome? And this doesn't mean that like you don't have to be in a calorie cut, a calorie deficit. If you want to lose weight, yes, you literally need to be eating less calories than you were consuming each day. That's how a calorie deficit works. So let's talk about that first and foremost. Being at maintenance means whatever amount of food you're eating each day, it allows you to maintain your weight pretty steadily, pretty consistently. That does not mean that you cannot lose fat at maintenance. So I want to be very clear with that. If you are in a calorie deficit, you will lose weight. If you are at maintenance, you can lose fat even if you're not losing weight. And so just to give some context around that and what that looks like, when you're in a maintenance phase and you're actively trying to change your body composition, you can eat those calories that keep your weight steady. Let's call it 2,200 calories. For me, that's about what my maintenance is. Oh, my hand's dirty from sitting outside. And I could optimize building muscle while losing body fat simultaneously. Okay, so this works by hitting your protein target. That's a whole other tangent for another day, but it is possible to lose body fat and change the look of your body, the composition of your body, looking more lean and toned and defined in your body without losing weight on the scale. So I want you to keep that in mind here. So for me, myself, like I said, my maintenance calories are about 2,200. I have been on and off of cuts over the past few months. And the reason I can safely and confidently do that is because I know how to take myself through a cut. I did it with a coach 2 times over the course of the 2.5 years that I was with her, right? We were very methodical in how we approached them. We built our foundation. We reverse dieted. We got me up to a maintenance caloric range of about 2,400 calories a day, which was awesome. But my new maintenance at a smaller body size is about 2,200 calories. So this year I've had a lot of travel and stuff. I've had to bring my calories down while I'm at home in order to achieve weight loss and fat loss. But it was because I was doing so much travel and stuff that I knew I'd be in a surplus of calories for those events. So anyways, whole other story for a whole other day. I'm going to tell you right now, I have been cutting on the same calories the entire time that I have been in any of these weight loss phases over the past few months. Those calories look like 1,700 calories per day, almost every day. Okay. Almost every day. And I say that because there were times during those phases where I would have an untracked meal or what have you. And there have been times when I've decided I don't need an untracked meal, like just hit your 1700 Crystal. There's no special events to celebrate. You can eat those lower calories. So anyways, I was on 1700 calories pretty consistently for 3 weeks before I went on a trip to Arizona. Okay. So 1700 calories a day, 150 grams of protein, 30 to 40 grams of fiber every day leading up to this Arizona trip. And then when I got back from Arizona, which was just a few weeks ago, I was like, okay, we're gonna get back into my normal cutting numbers because I was in a bit of I was more at towards my maintenance calories during the time that I was in Arizona. So come back, drop the scale down back to normal. Okay. And now we're just back to losing weight. But the experiment that I decided to run on myself last week, which I had told you guys about in here, and I've talked about it on my social media and stuff, is that I wanted to see how my body responded with eating more whole foods, more real foods, and taking out all of the extra fluff. So this looked like cutting out my coffee creamer. This looked like cutting out the nightcap beverages that I would have where I had this like adaptogen blend with some cashew milk, having protein powder sometimes in order to just like make my yogurt bowl taste better. But I decided to get rid of that stuff. So I did not change my calories at all. I still kept at 1700 calories a day, still stuck to 150 grams of protein a day, still stuck to 30 to 40 grams of fiber a day. And wouldn't you know it, it did me some favors, right? So I saw myself go from the start of my 1 week experiment at a certain weight. And then 1 week later, I took updated progress pictures. I took updated measurements. And of course, I weigh in every single day, 7 days a week. It's just what I do. And from one Monday to the next, I was consistently dropping weight, I think almost every day, but I lost 3.5 pounds from Monday to the following Monday. Okay. Again, I did not decrease my calories from where I was the week before or any of these other times before when I was at the 1700 calories. It was the exact same amount of food in terms of caloric value, but the food composition was different. Like I said, I only cut out those couple of things, my 100 calories of coffee creamer, my like half a serving of protein powder, these drinks and stuff that were, close to like 80 to 100 calories a day. I took them out and I replaced them with other real whole foods. So this looked like having to diversify my shopping list a little bit because, to be honest, the things that I was cutting out were things that had like a decent amount of like carbs and fats, if you will, for what they provided me. Like my coffee creamer, it's 100 calories. There's no protein in there. So I get to go find 100 calories from different sources of carbs and from fats. So I saw myself this last week eating things like rice and potatoes daily, eating things like pecans, eating things like maybe some coconut oil or some avocado oil or something with the veggies and stuff that I was cooking. I was eating the same amount of calories, just more food, right? It literally was more food because now instead of drinking some coffee creamer, I got to eat things like rice and potatoes. And so it just was a really, really exciting change because the thing that sucks about going into a calorie deficit, you guys, is that you literally have to eat less food, right? Like you have to, you're eating fewer calories. My calories are 500 less than what they would be in a maintenance phase. But in this instance, and oftentimes what we find with our clients is that, sure, they might be eating a lot of calories or they might be eating very few calories, but the composition of those calories is just not in alignment with the things that are going to allow their bodies to release body fat, right? So for instance, I was down, I believe 3/8 of an inch on my waist in just that week's time. I was down 1/4 of an inch on my hips in just that week's time. Like there was noticeable changes in my progress pictures. And I posted those on my story earlier in the week because your body responds differently to real food than it does to all the over-processed bullshit. It just does. So for those of you that listen to Mind Pump, I know I've gotten a lot of you addicted to it. Like those are my boys. I love them. I can't wait to go out and see them here sometime soon. But this is a conversation that Adam has had multiple times on the podcast. He talks about he was a physique competitor, right? He competed in men's bodybuilding physique. So he has to literally get on a stage and have like almost no body fat on him to look like lean and toned and defined and jacked and tan. And he ran this experiment on himself where he's still hitting the same protocols in terms of his exercise, his cardio, his food, but he ran it at one time where he was relying on things like having protein bars and having protein shakes. And he did it another time where he replaced that with real whole foods. And wouldn't you know, he looked a lot better. And in the world of body composition, or sorry, in the world of bodybuilding, how you look is important. Nobody cares about the scale weight for you, right? It's you have to have a very lean body fat percentage. Literally, he was sitting at like less than 5% body fat, which is scary. Like nobody should be doing that on a day-to-day basis by any means. But he looked very different. He looked so much better by having a diet that incorporated really whole foods for the most part. So if any of this is resonating with you, if you've ever experimented with anything like this, will you please like drop something in the comments? Let me know I'm not the only one who's heard about this experience or again, experienced this for myself. But it's just been so cool, you guys. And I continue to see the scale go down. So I decided after running that experiment that I want to keep doing this for the most part, which it's just not a huge stretch from how I normally eat anyways. I typically run about an 80-20 lifestyle, right? Most of my foods are whole foods, but like I said, I have some of those extras here and there. I'll have my Dr. Pepper Zeros. I'll have my my protein powder and my coffee creamer and stuff that isn't necessarily a whole food, but I eat animal source foods, right? Like those are my proteins. I eat chicken and turkey and beef and shrimp and seafood and stuff every day. I eat fruits and vegetables in huge quantities every single day. Literally every single meal of mine has, if not 2, 3 different servings of fruits or vegetables. Like if you watch my stories, I'll have broccoli, asparagus, spinach in one meal. And it's a full on like 85 grams of each of those things. In my breakfast every day, I have riced cauliflower. I have 4 different kinds of berries, and it gets me 14 grams of fiber every day just in my breakfast, my first meal of the day, almost halfway to my goal. Because remember, if you heard earlier, I said my fiber goal is 30 grams of fiber per day every day. So it's just looking at, are you primarily eating these real whole foods? So I would love for you to like think about this. What does this look like for you? What are the real foods that you could see yourself eating on a regular basis? Those things are going to make you feel good. They're going to make you perform good. They're going to make you look good. And if those are goals of yours, then you should give yourself the gift of eating those real foods. One of the challenges that I see a lot of times with clients and people coming to work with us, even in like our challenges and stuff like that, is they're really struggling to get protein. Okay. And I totally get that because almost everybody that I've ever worked with is under consuming protein from the get-go. If you don't know your protein goal, take your body weight and multiply it by anywhere from about 0.7 to 1 or 0.8 to 1, somewhere in there. And that is your goal intake for protein every day, 7 days a week, not just on the weekdays, not just when you feel like it, 7 days a week. Okay. You want to be hitting again, 0.7 or 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. However, and this conversation came up on one of my other friends' lives yesterday. If you are somebody who you're like, well, I weigh 300 pounds. That's a lot of protein. I get it. Totally. So another way that you can do this is what would be like a goal body weight for you, right? And you can take it and base it off of that. I would say 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So for instance, if I had a 200-pound client and that person ultimately should be closer to like 150 pounds, just to be considered more healthy, not to be considered overweight or obese or whatever, then I would say 150 grams of protein per day, for instance, for that person might be something that they could aim for, right? Because 150 pounds seems realistic. So if you have questions about this, you guys, and you want like some more specifications for you, please DM me, drop comments here. Like I posted about this the other day. I think I made a TikTok on it. Like people underutilize us. We are literally providing you so much value in this group. We want to teach you these things because we know it's overwhelming. We know it's hard. So I would say, again, calculate that protein goal and ask yourself, what are the real foods that are going to help you get protein? You hear me listing off things: eggs, egg whites, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, beef, turkey, chicken. Like, do you see yourself eating those things? Are those foods that you could see yourself enjoying? Okay, great. Now let's look and see. Let's pretend that your protein goal is 150 grams of protein per day. Okay, do you eat 3 meals a day? Amazing. Then in those 3 meals, you're going to need about 50 grams of protein in every single meal to hit that 150, right? Break it down, make it less overwhelming. I was going through a client's food logs yesterday, and that was one thing that I didn't like seeing on her stuff was that her breakfast had like 17 grams of protein, and yet her protein goal, I want to say, is like 150 grams a day. I'm like, you're only eating 3 meals and like a snack. Your breakfast should be like the powerhouse when it comes to your protein and your fiber. As I mentioned earlier, with that big ass bowl of oats that I have every day, that crushes protein, it crushes fiber, it keeps me full and satisfied for hours. So I think I ate sometime around 9 this morning. I'm probably not going to eat until like 2 or something when I get back from my hair appointment because I'm pretty full for 5 hours from eating a big hearty breakfast like that. That is a lot of food. So if I pull it up, like let's just do that real quick. My breakfast this morning was 435 calories. That is it. 435 calories, but 31 grams of protein and 16 grams of fiber. Look at me go. So more than halfway to my fiber goal today. And you could easily go slam 435 calories from a Starbucks drink, or from a Starbucks drink and a stupid little thing of the little sous vide egg bites from Starbucks. Do you think that's going to keep you full and satisfied for 5 hours like my bowl of oats is? No, the answer is no. It's not real food. It's liquid calories from your drink. It's a couple of stupid, shitty sous vide egg bite things that have like nothing in them. They have a minuscule amount of protein. Eat real food, you guys. So again, this is what you want to avoid if you are looking to drop weight without cutting calories. You want to avoid those hyper palatable, overly processed foods. Okay. You know what I'm talking about. I don't care if it's the Kodiak cake waffles. I don't care if it's the Joseph's pitas. I don't care if it is the Quest protein bar. Get rid of that shit. Experiment with this for a week. Like literally give yourself 7 days and say, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to commit to. And if this is something you end up doing, please let me know. And if you're just like, well, I want to do it, but I'm not going to hold myself accountable, like shoot me a message or drop a comment or something and let me know. And I want to be able to check in on you and ask you how it's going. And if you need support, if you want some help, if you want some ideas of what meals might look like for you, I'm happy to like DM you back and forth a little bit and give you some suggestions. Okay. I'm actually getting on a strategy call, hopefully with one of my clients very soon, because that's kind of a problem we're running into with her. She's in a cut. We're not seeing movement on the scale. I asked her, I'm like, do you want to cut your calories some more? Do you want to add in a couple thousand extra steps per day? Or do you want to clean up your effing diet? And like I said, get rid of those 17 grams of protein that you're having from bullshit in the morning and actually try to optimize having real whole foods instead. Because I am telling you, I know she will lose weight if her diet just changes by having at least her 5 cups of fruits and veggies every day, and by getting protein from real whole foods, not overly processed shit, and getting carbs and fats from real whole foods. Things like potatoes, sweet potatoes, rice. Even if she had like some Dave's Killer Bread or something, that would be a dramatic step up from having carbs from things like pretzel twists or something, right? And having fats from things like nuts. Nuts are very hard for me because I enjoy the hell out of them. I love them, but it's easy for me to overeat them. So if you are somebody who's going to add nuts in for your fats, make sure you are weighing and measuring those out because it is a slippery slope. I could eat thousands of calories in nuts and then hate myself afterwards because I feel a lot. But it doesn't take a lot to actually let those calories rack up. 30 grams of pecans, which is maybe like 12 or so, is like 220 calories, you guys. So just be aware of these things. So anyways, if you want to lose body fat, you got to eat less calories. No diet's going to work if you are somebody who is eating more calories than you burn every day. That's just how it goes. It is the end of story, point blank. Okay. So it's important to eat an adequate amount of protein and fats and all of the things. Try to get your micronutrients from those fruits and veggies and everything. But it's important to also figure out a long-term strategy to avoid overeating. So I don't care if you're in a calorie deficit or if you're just like trying to have maintenance calories, whatever. One of the reasons that people end up gaining weight overall is not because they're just like straight up eating excess calories from a bunch of like egg whites and potatoes and broccoli. Like that's just not happening. They are overeating because they're eating these hyper palatable foods, right? So cut out again the Quest bars, cut out the protein shakes and replace those things with real whole food. Give your body a chance to have to actually break down and digest those foods. Give your body the chance to actually feel full. I even just posted on my Instagram feed here, I think it was last week, I did the demonstration of like the half of a crumble cookie versus the big ass plate of chicken and vegetables and potatoes. And it was less calories to have that big ass plate of food than it was to have half of a crumble cookie. Like, again, which one do you think is going to keep you fuller for longer? Which one do you think is going to make your body feel better? Which one do you think is going to make your body look better, have better energy, perform better in your workouts, right? It's going to be from the real food versus the stupid fucking cookie, which, yes, crumble cookies are delicious. However, having them in moderation and exploring this opportunity to just say, hey, what's the worst that could happen? Like, literally, if I asked you to do this, to go 7 days with just eating primarily whole foods, and I guaranteed you would look better, feel better, and probably lose weight, like, wouldn't that be worth it? It's just 7 days to experiment with it. And then from there, you can decide, how much of this do I want to do? How much of this is realistic for my life? And then you can decide. So that was one of the findings that I had, is that I went into it. By the time I got to Saturday, I was like, I really want my fucking coffee creamer. Like, I'm obsessed with it. I love it. So I decided, for me, guess what? On weekdays, I'm going to have my coconut milk with cinnamon and stevia, and that's going to be my coffee creamer. But on weekends, I'm going to treat myself. I'm going to allow myself to have my 100 calories of my delicious oatmeal cookie creamer because I love it. And I don't think we should give up everything in order to just lose weight or to look a certain way, right? Like, food is an experience. Food is there to be enjoyed, but it's all about also practicing moderation and being like, what's my hell yes? What's my hell no? What are the things that are worth it? I'm never going to give up pizza for the rest of my life, but I can be more mindful about, okay, I'm going to plan for pizza on date night or whatever. I can also decide, would I rather have my coffee creamer or would I rather have a White Claw? 20 times out of 20, I'm going to choose the coffee creamer over the fucking White Claw. Like, disgusting. Even if it came down to, you guys, Crystal, here's your ultimate choice. You have to either give up your coffee creamer for forever, or you have to give up espresso martinis for forever. Well, which one do you think I'm going to give up? I'm going to give up the espresso martini. Why? Because it's fine. I'll just go drink fucking coffee. And I could literally get like a cold brew or something and put it in a martini glass and have just that feeling of like, oh, I'm having an espresso martini. None the wiser, right? Like, shit, that's a great idea. Maybe that's what I should start doing when I have people over and stuff and I'm making espresso martinis for everybody. Maybe that's what I'll do for them. And I'm just going to have some like the Starbucks, like big container of cold brew or whatever. Maybe I'm just going to shake that over ice and put it in my martini glass and enjoy, because I guarantee most of you, that's what your addiction to alcohol is. And yes, you have an addiction if you can't even give up alcohol for a week. Hate to say it, but it's true. You have that habit, right? It's a habit. It's an ingrained thing. You are in the habit of like going and having a glass of wine at night, or going and having a beer after a rough day at work, or going to a restaurant, ordering a cocktail with your dinner. You just are in the habit. So still do that, right? I could still have my martini glass at my house and just fill it with cold brew and it would be all the same. Okay. But anyways, so that's what I just wanted to go over for you guys today, is just, can you experiment with yourself? Can you take out those heavily processed foods? Because they're hijacking your palate, right? When you start to eat them, you tend to want to eat more of them. And that was a finding that I found for myself as well, that I talked to my one-on-one clients about when we had our group call on Monday the other night. Somebody had asked about how my experiment went. And so I filled them in a little bit. And I said, on Saturday, I decided I wanted to have my coffee creamer. And wouldn't you know it, just having that coffee creamer to start my day on Saturday and Sunday, I was hungrier, right? Like, I wanted to eat things. And it wasn't, get that out of your vocabulary, Crystal. You were not hungrier. I was craving things. All of a sudden, I'm like, ooh, what else do I want to eat? Oh, this sounds good. Oh, we should make dinner plans. I want to go out to eat. Like, the more that you eat the shit, the more that you crave the shit, because those things, again, are designed to hijack your palate. Gosh, I have some notes here talking about, okay, I just want to read through this real quick. So I did take some notes before, and this will just help me to be more succinct. So heavily processed foods are typically foods that are found in boxes or wrappers, and they usually have long shelf lives. Think cookies, chips, muffins, cereal, bread products, etc. They're many steps away from their natural selves. So think about that. Like, they had to go through many processes and many different forms of being in order to actually become the thing. They were composed of natural products at one point or another, and now they're just these overly processed things that are designed for you to want to keep overeating them. So anyways, most of the money that goes into these foods goes into their palatability. Palatability refers to the hedonistic reward that you get from food. It's the pleasure aspect. This includes everything that makes food truly enjoyable, including its taste, the mouthfeel, its smell, the color and visual appearance, the sound the food makes when you bite into it, the food's packaging, and much more. Lots of money has been spent researching and figuring out how to make foods irresistible. This has resulted in foods that literally make you want to eat even when you're full. So, isn't that crazy? Like, we don't think about the fact that like that's where all of the marketing money goes into, is like, how do we make these foods addicting so people want to keep eating them? They don't just come up with those catchphrases of like, once you pop, you can't stop. It's legit. They've designed it that way. So when you eat natural foods, your body will usually tell you when it's had enough, but this signal is short-circuited with heavily processed foods. Consider this. If you were presented with 2,000 calories of plain white baked potatoes without salt or butter, and you were challenged to eat all of them in a half an hour, do you think you could? So think about that. 2,000 calories of plain white baked potatoes. It's a lot of white baked potatoes. There's no butter, there's no salt, there's nothing on it. Could you eat that in 30 minutes? No. It is very, very unlikely that you would, but most people could get through 2 to 4 potatoes and start to gag. Okay. They'd be like, all right, I'm giving this a whirl. Like, there's a challenge. They're going to give me this money if I do it. They would all of a sudden just be like, nope, I can't do it. They would get palate fatigue. It would taste boring and blah, and they would not be into it. But if the challenge was to eat 2,000 calories of potato chips, well, how well do you think you would do? Do you think you could eat 2,000 calories of potato chips? Yes, you could, because one serving of potato chips is about like 150 to 180 calories, somewhere in there. A serving of potato chips is like 10 to 12 chips. So let's just break that down. Like, yeah, you could eat 200 chips. I know that you could. Like, if you actually had to, you could. You would feel like absolute dog shit, but like you could do it. So it's easy. It would be easy to eat them all, and it would likely happen in about half the time that's allotted, right? You could probably do that in 15 minutes, not even 30. So we've all experienced being full from a big dinner, but then suddenly dessert's out. Already dessert, right? Because dessert is going to be hyper palatable. We're going to want to overeat it. So the most effective thing, the most simple single step that anyone can do to lose body fat and to lose weight is restrict or eliminate heavily processed foods, not calories. Okay. You don't have to restrict or eliminate calories. You do need to eliminate those heavily processed foods. And it doesn't mean it's a forever thing, and it doesn't mean it's everything, but it's looking at your diet. Do you have a better 80-20 approach to eating real whole foods, and then 20% a little bit more fun foods? And if you're really trying to dial things in, you might benefit from just 10% more fun foods and 90% real whole foods. So I challenge you to take a look at it. Check to see, how many calories per day are you eating? If you're somebody who's not tracking your food, I would start there. Okay. And then just ask yourself, like, does most of my food look like something that grew from the earth, walked on the earth, was in the waters of the earth? Like, are my foods mostly real foods? Or do I have a lot of things that have a long list of ingredients on them, and they were something that grew from the earth or walked on the earth or swam in the water, and now they're something else, right? They've gone through a lot of engineering to become this new thing, like a wrap or an English muffin or a bagel or cereal or whatever, right? Just ask yourself. And if the answer is, I have a lot of things that have a lot of ingredients, back it off. See how many single ingredient foods you can come up with that you can add into your diet. So come up with different protein sources you can have for your breakfast, for your lunch, for your dinner. Come up with different fruits and vegetables that you could see yourself eating on a daily basis. I suggest starting with at least 5 different protein sources that you could eat on a daily basis, and at least 5 different fruits and 5 different vegetables that, again, you could see yourself eating on a daily basis. Come up with that list, do some meal planning, do some grocery shopping, and go from there. And as always, if this sounds really overwhelming and like a lot of work, then ask for help. Okay. So that's what I got for you guys today. I know it was a long one, but if you have any questions or feedback, drop them below. And I hope everybody is having an amazing Friday Junior. So if you're in B-Town, hit me up. I'm here, but I'm not doing a whole lot. So anyways, have a great day, you guys. I hope you learned something. And again, if you experiment with this, I would love to hear about it. Let me know. All right. Have a good one.